Damian Priest takes a shot at Jake Paul on Monday Night Raw. WWE veteran slams Randy Orton and Riddle segment. And Chris Jericho sends a message to release WWE Superstar. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. Damian Priest takes a shot at Jake Paul on Monday Night Raw. YouTube sensation and boxer Jake Paul recently had a big boxing fight against former MMA star Ben Askren. Paul was victorious and continued to prove doubters wrong about his fighting ability. However, many are still not convinced that he is a real fighter. One such person who doesn't consider Jake Paul to be a real fighter is WWE Superstar Damian Priest. The Archer of Infamy recently took a shot at Paul on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw. Priest interrupted a celebratory segment between The Miz and his wife Maurice. The couple was celebrating the success of their show Miz and Mrs., and the A-lister was mouthing off about how he both made Bad Bunny's wrestling career and defeated Priest. It was here that Priest injected himself into the conversation and informed The Miz that he is as delusional as Jake Paul thinking he's a real fighter. Jake Paul is a prominent influencer and will take notice of all those who are doubting his fighting ability, including Damian Priest. It will be interesting to see what Jake will have to say about being publicly called out by the WWE star on live TV. WWE recently had Logan Paul come out of Tampa for WrestleMania 37, where he was Sami Zayn's special guest. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to suggest Logan's younger brother Jake could get involved with WWE too. Jake could even have a feud of his own with Damian Priest, especially after what the Archer of Infamy said on Monday Night Raw. Having such a popular celebrity involved will surely bring some new fresh viewers to WWE. Damian Priest clearly does not think much of Jake Paul's dominant victory over Ben Askren and his fighting skills. He may even welcome the chance to face him in a WWE ring. Booker T on release WWE Superstar. Booker T has discussed the release of Samoa Joe by WWE, stating that Joe is a consummate professional and his release will be a big loss for WWE. Samoa Joe, who joined WWE in 2015, put on fantastic matches on NXT and also won the NXT Championship twice, one of 4 superstars to do so. He was called up to the main roster in 2017, and many expected him to win a few world titles, but Joe only won the United States Championship. On Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T admitted he was surprised by WWE's decision to let Samoa Joe leave. He stated that the two-time US champion was open to doing multiple things for the company, saying, quote, "He was on the sidelines, but I always thought Joe was going to do that job. Joe is like me. He's kind of like the utility guy. You need me over here, I'll do that. You need me over here, I'll do that. And be content with actually doing that. Not being consumed with, man, I gotta get back in the ring. I'm missing the boat." But I'm surprised that Joe was on the list. I must say 100% I am. I don't know the ramification of what happened, but I do think it's a loss for the company. End quote. Booker T went on to heap praise on the former US champion and stated that Samoa Joe would be a success wherever he goes next. Booker T and Samoa Joe crossed paths a few occasions when the two were a part of TNA in the 2000s. They faced each other in singles and tag team matches, including an encounter for the TNA World Heavyweight title. WWE veteran slams Randy Orton and Riddle segment on Raw. Former WWE writer Vince Russo was not happy with the backstage segment between Randy Orton and Riddle on Raw. Russo said the segment made both men look bad. In the latest edition of Legion of Raw, Vince Russo addressed the segment between Randy Orton and Riddle backstage on WWE Raw before their match. Russo was not happy with the fact that the segment showed that Orton didn't know who Riddle was. Russo said this buried Riddle and explained how Orton didn't look good because of this either. Here's what Vince Russo had to say about Riddle and Orton on this week's edition of Legion of Raw.
Riddle does his run-ins or scoot-ins, and this leads into a match with Riddle and Orton does not know who he is.
Yeah, think about Chris. Yeah. That bro, I remember very, very, very early on when I started, bro. I'm talking like 95. Okay. Bro, there were certain things that were a no-no. Like, you could never bury talent. Like, bro, if a guy was older, you could never mention his weight. You could never say a guy was fat. It was such a no-no because they looked at it as like you're burying the guy.
Yeah.
Bro, the fact that Orton doesn't even know this dude's name, I can't, like, bro, this is stuff like, these are rules of 50 years. Like that Vince McMahon would look at something like this and say, you don't even know this is supposed to be a WWE superstar and you don't know his name. Yeah. Bro, the fact Orton doesn't know Riddle's name freaking buries the guy, bro.
And what makes it worse is, which I thought that this was going to happen, actually. I said, you know what? I guarantee you Riddle's going to beat Orton because of that.
Yeah, no.
And I was thinking in my head, so it makes it even worse that Orton's saying that. Orton has stroke. He's been with the company for 20 years. And I'm thinking in my head, why would you make the situation worse by losing to someone you don't even know whose name?
Bro, exactly, Chris. If you don't know who this person is, then nobody is beating you.
Exactly.
The logic is so incredible, bro. You're not putting the guy over. I don't know who he is. He's a nobody, no name, faceless. And you just lost to a no-name, faceless. Yeah. Okay, bro.
14-time world champion loses to another.
All right, congratulations.
You can watch full episodes of Legion of Raw with Dr. Chris Featherstone and Vince Russo on our Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel and Facebook watch page. WWE severely punishes Charlotte Flair over actions on this week's Raw. Charlotte Flair made sure this week's episode of Raw ended in a blaze of glory after her defeat to Asuka in the main event. With current WWE Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley watching on, Asuka beat Charlotte via roll-up, and the Queen didn't react well to the match's outcome. Soon after the bell was tolled, Charlotte took her anger out on the referee. She first threw him across the ring before bludgeoning him on the ground numerous times. Despite other officials entering the ring to stop the assault, the Queen continued beating down on the defenseless referee to the end of the show. On Raw Talk, hosts Kevin Patrick and Xavier Woods were interrupted by WWE official Adam Pearce. The sound picked up Pearce muttering to the duo that Charlotte Flair had been officially and indefinitely suspended for physically harming a WWE official. Pearce further stated that the 12-time WWE Women's Champion had been fined a staggering $100,000 for her surprising actions at the end of this week's show. Charlotte is currently embroiled in a heated rivalry with Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and the Raw Women's Championship. Therefore, it will be interesting to see how long her suspension lasts. With Asuka coming out on top this week, it wouldn't be surprising to see the Empress of Tomorrow receive another title rematch at WrestleMania Backlash. One thing is for sure though, a fully fledged heel Charlotte Flair is back and the WWE Universe has embraced the move. It was great to have Charlotte Flair back on WWE TV during the Raw After Mania last Monday. However, her return has been even more enjoyable thanks to her shift to the dark side. If Charlotte's heel turn wasn't cemented by her recent promos, this week's attack on innocent referees has done the trick. Chris Jericho sends a message to a released WWE Superstar. Chris Jericho has extended an open invitation to recently released WWE Superstar Tucker to appear on Talk is Jericho. Tucker was one of several WWE Superstars who were recently let go by the company as part of its annual release spree. Tucker hadn't been used much on WWE TV following his split with Otis last year. Chris Jericho noticed Tucker's latest tweet in which he stated that he couldn't wait to tell the story behind a photo he shared. Jericho responded to the tweet and made it clear that he wanted to invite Tucker on the Talk is Jericho podcast. Chris Jericho has spoken with a long list of former WWE superstars on his podcast so far. He's interviewed the likes of Jon Moxley and FTR following their WWE releases, and 3 episodes received great reviews from the wrestling world. Chris Jericho is currently one of the most prominent wrestlers in the industry and is doing well for himself on AEW TV. Jericho boasts incredible star power, and appearance on his podcast would be nothing but beneficial for Tucker. Tucker turned on Otis last year at the Hell in a Cell event and cost him the Money in the Bank briefcase. Tucker's betrayal led The Miz to winning the briefcase and eventually winning the WWE title from Drew McIntyre. Tucker faded into obscurity following his heel turn at Hell in a Cell and didn't appear much on TV. He wasn't involved in any storylines for months on end before competing in the 2021 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the road to WrestleMania 37. There was fear among fans that Heavy Machinery split wouldn't bode well for Tucker's career, and that's exactly what happened in the end. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories and exclusive content, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.